Yo, back here again. Thank you guys so much. If you guys just came from our NBA offseason frenzy episode, thank you guys so much for watching that. We're back with another episode of Section 300, sponsored by nobody yet, but hey, if y'all want to plug us, definitely.
We got a sponsor now?
Hey, on the way. We'll see. But we are back again with another episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the show below. And follow us on IG Section 300 and Twitter at Section 300 Pod. We love to chat with y'all.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, we just talked about all the NBA things, and now there's plenty of stuff going on in the NFL as well. First things first, me as the Ravens fan, guy addressed the elephant in the room. My boys lost yet again. It was a rough week. Yeah. We went up against the Steelers on a Wednesday, man, because of all these COVID things going on. Yeah. We were down like 16 guys, including Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, Mark Andrews, and more. Even though all those guys were out, we put up a good fight. RG3 did the best that he could. I'm alongside Gus Edwards and those guys in the backfield. Also, Trace McSorley, internet sensation, Baltimore Ravens, put up threw a nice little touchdown at the end to keep us in it. And keep us in it because the Steelers didn't actually put up as good a fight as we thought. And many people expected a blowout because of how undermanned the Ravens were. But the Steelers underperformed as well. Scheduling may have been a reason. All of the COVID things going on. They had guys who sick themselves.
Right.
A lot going on. So the Steelers underperformed also and ended up being actually a fun game to watch Wednesday afternoon. So the Steelers won 19, I think it was 19-14, something like that. I forgot exactly the score. They won by a touchdown and did their thing. And now we move on. And just trying to figure out, for the Ravens at least, just how to make sure we stay in this playoff hunt. We've now lost 5 games, I believe it has been, and we got to win out for the rest of the year. Even with that, though, we see – I'm glad that playing on a Wednesday focused all NFL.
I realized my fantasy team is the Ravens, man.
Huh?
I just realized my fantasy team is the Ravens, man.
We don't go there. But as for the real things, I'm glad all the NFL eyes got to be focused on the Ravens for this game to see that the problems in Baltimore right now are not Lamar Jackson. There are a lot of things, as I mentioned from day one, that need to be addressed beyond the quarterback spot.
Mm-hmm.
Our receivers' inability to get open and get involved in the game. You can point to them themselves with Willie Snead and Marquise Brown and whoever. You can also point to Greg Roman and then the play calling, wherever it may be. But everybody has been mad at Lamar all year long when it has been clear that this game showed that with him out, those guys, it was not a pretty sight. They had to do whatever they could to put up a fight. And though they did, it was like, man, even if you add Lamar back into this equation, it's like, what does this team do? We saw that Lamar is not the issue, and we got to continue to add help around him. It reminded me, we've talked NBA things, it reminds me a little bit of like Atlanta right now. Atlanta came back this offseason and bolstered up. They had a lot of good young guys with a lot of potential. When you add in Bogdanovich, when you add in Gallinari, when you add in the guy they drafted, it makes that team look a lot more of a threat. And that's where the Ravens kind of are bubbling right now. They need to add a couple more guys. Des Bryant has not been hit quite yet. He's still trying to learn the offense and things, get acclimated and all of that. But we need more help around our star under center. So, yeah, I'm glad that the world got to see that.
Yeah. I think it was a little bit surprising just how close the game was, but I did say beforehand that these divisional games do tend to be close between you guys in this AFC division. I think the Steelers also kind of play down to the competition, which can be an issue for them in the playoffs as well.
I'm not allowed to say anymore, as we have addressed, but it's funny how I was saying it damn near from day one. And though I have shut up on it, now all the other sports media are saying they have no trust in Pittsburgh and all of this. I'm like, I was saying that, like, I don't trust them, and they've been winning games, but they've had a very schedule and all of that, and they have yet to really impress me throughout this run they've been on. So yes, they're 11-0. Yes, I'm quiet because they beat my team twice. But as for Super Bowl aspirations, as I said from day one, I do not see them as a real show why. So, yeah, continue.
Yeah, they're still a Super Bowl threat to me just because their defense will keep them there. I think the issue,
even with Bud Dupree going down with the ACL tear,
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, they lost one of them, their linebackers in the game. So they're losing guys still.
Their pass rush is still pretty good with TJ Watt.
Sure, but the secondary ain't the greatest. And I think that against more of the elite teams, we don't have an elite passing game. That's clearly the case. But put them against Kansas City or wherever other top dogs, I don't think they're going to hold up too well.
I think that's going to be the matchup. I think it's going to end up being Kansas City and the Steelers.
I don't think it'll be pretty. If that's the case, I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Kansas City. Like as I picked before the season started, I think Kansas City repeats. So. I think the Steelers will be the only threat. But what I was going to say, the issue for the Steelers in this game, too, is guys were dropping the ball left and right, man. Ben Roethlisberger was putting it, right in the breadbasket, and they were just dropping balls. Bad drops, too.
And as we talked about, I was expecting a loss going into it. I knew we undermanned all of that. But it was funny. It was frustrating because they were dropping all these passes, and then at the very end of the game, we then throws up a prayer, it seemed like. And Deontay Johnson, between three Ravens defenders, somehow makes the catch. He dropping passes all game, but the one time they need to catch, you get it. Juju also made a nice fourth down.
Oh, that was I know you're talking about. That was James Washington who made that. James Washington
made that. Yeah, I'm like, dang, y'all just drop one more pass for us. Y'all dropped 12 already. Just drop one more, and we might even stole that game. But yeah, they have work to do definitely with that offense and just across the board.
Yeah, across the board. They're contenders, but like you said, the media started to say, you wouldn't put your trust in them, I don't think, for a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think there's a couple teams that are at a hedge above them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you expected to lose that game. You ended up losing it. Well, what did you say? I said last week that it might be time to call it a season for the Ravens. You might not want to do that yet, but the Browns are 8-3 quietly too. I feel like we forgot about that. They're also in your division, so it's going to be tough to get a wild card spot as well.
Right, but I think like with the NBA, this playoffs is stretched out a bit, so there's room still for us.
Really? Did they add a couple?
I think that they added two more spots. So that alongside, even though we have been trashed, as I mentioned as well, there's elite teams and there's a bunch just in the middle, and the Ravens could fight their way between those teams in the middle and steal a playoff spot. So even teams that seem really good, Cardinals and other teams, they're 6-5 as well. So the Ravens definitely still could make their way into this playoff. So holding out hope or just hoping that we end on some kind of positive note this season. So we shall see. But yeah, the Steelers definitely have a lot of room to improve and have a lot of fans and critics they have to win over as they go further in this season. So we shall see how it goes.